Okay, welcome everybody. Glad you're here. And welcome to our Pathwork Village.
Yeah.
And I love that word because it means everybody has a place.
Yeah.
Everybody belongs. Somebody's the cobbler, somebody's the baker, somebody's the school teacher, right? Like we're all here. And really, each one of us is an essential part of what's happening tonight. And some of the things we're going to experience together will hopefully give you a deeper awareness of how important you are here, right? Like that, in fact, you are carrying a divine ray, right? A piece of that transcendent, the ineffable, the indescribable. And the irony of being a human being is we have this dual nature. The human that's sort of like stumbling around, trying to figure things out, and the soul that is timeless, wise. It just flows. And so what we're wanting to do today is open up some of that connection between the two. So I invite you right now just to take a moment and make sure you have a comfortable spot on your chair and listen to these words from the guide. Let the power of spirit enliven you. Live and manifest through you. Then you will be in the real world and your life will have meaning. Every step you take in this direction generates new energy. Know that this reality of spirit is much greater than that of the things you touch and see. The spiritual energy generated by you becomes self-sustaining and self-perpetuating. Now let's go inside and close our eyes so we can truly see. And just notice the breath. And notice the thought, I am breathing. This is my breath. Smile at that and let it go. Now open yourself to the deeper reality. Life is breathing you. There's nothing to think, to feel, or to do, just allow. Notice how hard this simple, essential step can be for many of us. And let the grace of this moment together, that's here, just let it soften any doubt, any resistance, disbelief. Just soften it the next layer deeper. Just feel that for a moment. Now, visualize the breath like a whole body process. It's not just the air coming in and out of the lungs. It's a flow of energy throughout the body. Breath, visualize it right now going into from your fingertips to your toes and everything in between, from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. And just see what it's like to be a little bit more sensitive to the whole body, as you breathe in and breathe out. The breath knows just where to go and what to do. Right now, just let yourself get a small glimpse of this vast energy that's breathing you. It's here. The gate of heaven is here right now. Now notice thoughts in your head, like a mosquito swarm, without getting too close where they can grab you. Just see them as a heap of thoughts. Now ask life, breathing you, to gently blow them all away. And just visualize all these thoughts without even knowing what they're about, right? Just being gently blown away by the breath. This is grace moving through. And there is no thought that it can't release if we let it. Let's take a moment together and feel this and receive this gift that's already ours. If there are any thoughts that are left, just notice them again without getting too close, and we'll come back. Now, notice feelings in the belly, right? The belly is where the feelings live. And just visualize them like a moving pile of worms, right? Each determined to have their way. Again, just see them as this writhing pile without getting too close, where they can grab you and pull you in. Again, ask life, breathing you, to gently blow them all away. This is grace moving through us, and there's no feeling that it can't release if we let it. Take a moment and feel this. Let yourself receive this gift that is already yours. Let your cells all take note and remember. So you can do this as many times as you want and need, day or night. Just taking your time and coming back when you're ready. Looking at all the faces on the screen, and so, as we always do, I invite you now to say your name and where you are in the planet, and just a couple things about what you're noticing right now, what's in you right here, right now. And so we can tune in and be here with you, right?
I'm Robin, and I'm coming from Calgary, Alberta. And I think that lately it's been harder. I know there's a full moon on Wednesday. I'm very sensitive. I feel like it's been harder to connect to my higher self. And I hate that feeling because when I'm not feeling connected, I feel despair. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you, Robin. Welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I'm Pat O'Hanlon. I'm in Seven Oaks in Virginia. And my mind has been extremely busy lately, and that emptying exercise was very refreshing. That felt really good.
Thank you, Pat. Glad you're here.
Hello, my name is Lorena, and I'm from Mexico City. I've been sick last week and still a little bit sick. So I have been very much into my own thoughts and feelings.
Mm. Thank you, Lorena.
My name is Jasmine. I'm from Toronto, Canada. During the exercise, I had thoughts. It was almost like a compulsion. Oh, I need to answer this. I need to do that. So I had moments where I could let go, but it just kept coming back. And I noticed that I've been like that in my life, not like recently as well, where something just grabs me, like a thought will grab me. Yeah.
It can be really strong, can't they, Jasmine?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ambush. They ambush us. Mm-hmm.
This is Josie. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's right.
Go ahead,
This is
Kay.
Josie. I'm the white dots. I'm trying to get the video going, but I can't seem to get it yet. But anyway, I am in the Poconos, Pennsylvania, Poconos. And I felt, I'm a nurse, so after a busy, long day as a nurse, when we did that meditation, I actually felt who I was for the first time today, because
Wow.
you're so involved in who everybody else is all day, that it felt good to be who I was for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josie.
Hi, this is Kay. I'm in Durham, North Carolina, and I am so excited about this lecture. It feels to me as if it is the most important lecture at the most opportune time for me personally that I've ever read in all the years that I've been doing path work. So thank you for offering it, Brian.
Thank you, Kay. Glad you're here.
I'm Pat Sullivan, and Oakland, California, until the 28th, when we fly out from here to Dulles and drive to Shenandoah, Virginia, population 2,200. So I know, Kay, we'll be down in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's been boxes and finally getting help. I mean, it's amazing. I have huge arthritis here and hurt this thumb because I was rushing one time and landed on it. And it's amazing how one little teeny part of the body can mess up everything I need to do for packing and taping. So I have hired help. And being here feels like an oasis and coming home a lot.
Welcome, Pat.
Thank you. Good to see you. You look wonderful, Brian.
Thank you. It's all lighting.
Well, I am Pat's husband, here with her and with all of you to hear this wisdom that we want and need to go on with our spiritual lives. So here I am and glad to be here.
Welcome. Welcome, John. Glad you're here.
I'm Esther, and the meditation was good. I came with, I had a little anxiety, but I was breathing through and, felt connected to myself.
Welcome, Esther.
I'm Carl. I am in rural Southeast Pennsylvania. And I have had kind of a normal, nice day. I'm in the middle of a, or the beginning, I don't know where I am, of a quite a stressful family situation. And as a recovering masochist, I'm no longer able to blow off the tension. Okay, so like numb it. So I've been anxious and tense, and spending some time with Brian yesterday. I'm had a really interesting day that of holding my little unpurified little boy running around in diapers we talked about, and just nurturing him however he feels, and also recognizing that the tension I have is separate from the situation that I'm dealing with. And it's kind of a mental concept, but it's also freeing and less entangled and less needing to solve, since they're two different things. So I've been practicing over and over today, and so so glad to be held here and hold others. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Hi, this is Catherine from upstate New York. Well, today I actually found a maybe a butterfly wing without the body, and I kind of rescued a dragonfly from a spider web. I just couldn't take all these bugs going into the spider web anymore, and the dragonfly, from however it happened, me getting it loose or it breaking free or what, or the web lost a wing as well. So I'm reflecting on the fact that two broken wings came into my field today, and also on perceived limitations. And I'm starting to feel a little as I'm reflecting on that. But after the meditation, I was actually feeling very peaceful. I didn't feel the the intensity of the things you were talking about. I was just feeling peaceful, and that was really lovely. So thank you, Brian.
Glad you're here.
I'm Stephen, and early in the spring, I took my fourth pilgrimage to India, and I came back. And for the past few weeks, I felt, I guess Catherine would use the word processing, but I've been going through a lot about my experiences there. And kind of took a step back from a lot of my own spiritual activities and rituals, or maybe 2 steps back, and now I'm starting to reemerge. And I'm not, I don't have a lot of personal experience with path work. I hear Catherine talking about it. I saw the title for this evening, and I thought that sounded very interesting, just going by the title. So I'm interested in listening and learning. And if you're looking at me on the camera, I'm not looking away. I'm looking at a separate monitor that's easier for me to see than the one that has the camera. So I am looking at everybody and paying attention.
Welcome, Stephen. I think everybody's spoken. Maybe Frank, have you spoken?
No, Frank, Richmond, Virginia. Feels good to be sitting in my office with you all tonight. Spent the better part of the weekend with my 99-year-old mother, which stretches my serenity mask to its limits. So it's nice to be home in my own space.
Welcome, Frank.
And my name's Kath. I'm usually in Queensland, Australia, but today I'm in sunny California in the San Francisco Bay part of the world. And looking forward to, I love the meditation. I thought it was beautiful, especially that at the end, you know, that feeling that, you know, that grace is always available to us. It was beautiful, your words. So thank you.
Thank you, Kath. So I'm Brian. I live in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and Lorena, I've been quite sick too for about a week. I can hear it in my chest and in my voice. It's not COVID related. So I don't feel as sharp as I want to feel, and I'm trusting that's a good thing. Because really what this lecture is well, it's really important to be sharp and use the mind in this work, to look at our defenses, to look at our fears, to challenge our illusions. The guide is telling us over and over in different lectures that that's just half of the process. And the other half of the process is actually the sweetest part and the easiest part. And I welcome all your objections to that later, right? Yet the way I compare it, it's like riding a bicycle. Right? All the work on our images and our illusions, our projections, our repressed feelings, it's like pedaling uphill, right? Am I going to be able to make it to the top of this hill? I'm getting tired, right? When really all that effort, which is really courageous and brave, and frankly, most people are just not interested in looking at themselves at the level that we take on here in this work. Purpose of all that work is just to experience bliss. The guy uses that word, bliss, pleasure supreme. Right? The guide's not being shy here about what's available to us. Right? One of the things I really like about the guide compared to many other teachers, many spiritual teachers will tell you the ideal way to be, right? Without what are the steps to getting there? And of course, the Pathwork Guide has got 1,001 steps, right? We can get lost in all those steps. And all those steps are important, though. They're important as a means. They're not the end, right? The end of this work is to have an experience of freedom, of the inner God self, of beauty, of connection, of love, regardless of what the outer circumstances are, right? Because part of our peril as human beings is we're trying to create the outer circumstances to have the inner experience. Right? If I find a partner, if I have more friends, I can experience love, right? Well, right away you see what happens. We're now dependent on outer circumstances being a certain way. And what the guide is inviting us to consider in this lecture is it's all here already. There's nothing to go find, right? Yet what we want to do together to support each other is be respectful of how far away that can seem to us, right? Like that, what is it with this riddle? It's all here, it's already in me, and it feels so far away, right? Like, who thought that one up? Right? So it takes just letting it all go for a few moments, like we did in the attunement, right? You don't even have to do it perfectly. To do it at all starts to create some stillness. And now we're receptive, right? We're like an open field that the pleasure principle, the cosmic pull, the God self, they're all words for the same thing, the life force, right? It just naturally comes into us. This is what creative emptiness is, just being empty for a few moments. Well, if it's that simple, why don't we do it more often, right? Well, it's not because there's anything wrong with us. It's not because any of us are missing something or don't have the discipline or don't have enough awareness or whatever. It's our humble humanity that's in the way. And this is something we all share. We all have some version of. And what the guide is saying in this teaching is that, okay, you do have to be empty, but really every human being is actually afraid of being empty. Because what if there's nothing there? And just see if you can let yourself have any version of that that's real for you, right? Again, it doesn't have to be the whole truth. We're looking for a place where this lives. The fundamental experience in most human beings is unworthiness. And this is a deep-seated sense of unworthiness. It says, I don't want to go into the emptiness. If there's nothing there, I'll be annihilated, right? I can't handle that disappointment. Let me settle for the little trials and disappointments of just being in life. That's better, right? I can handle that. We each have some place that just is terrified of being in the emptiness all by ourselves. It's a great existential fear. So, if this fear is so great, what can we do with it? Well, it's like with any other fear. You got to turn around and just face it and feel it, right? Name it. As soon as I name it, it's already a little smaller, right? Part of our defense system as human beings is when we're afraid of something, we don't want to know it exists. We all have had different experience of this with so many things we've worked on in our pathwork process, right? Like, wow, I didn't want to look at that. So again, with this fear of the emptiness, we get in that trap. We can't heal what we won't feel, right? So what's helped me is to view my fear of the emptiness. And in my fear, I call it the void, right? Just the nothingness. There's nothing there. Not as a flaw or a weakness or something else to criticize myself for, something else I can't do that other people can do so well, right? My friends that go to Adyashanti workshops for 7 days, right? After one day, I'd be going crazy, right? This is just my humble humanity, and I'm going to invite you to look at this fear of the emptiness as just part of what it happens as a spiritual being coming into a human body and living in a world of duality, right? Because we need that kindness towards ourselves to be willing to admit that we have this fear. I want to pause here and see who can relate to this fear the guide is offering us to look at here, like the fear of the emptiness and there be nothing there. The primal human fear. You see it in so many movies and novels and legends. There's something about being a human being. We're a social creature. We relate to what's around us.
So I grew up in a family where one of the unspoken rules was that there will never be silence when there are people in the room. Someone will speak. And that there was tag teaming and baton handing off. And so it kind of drove me crazy, but it was kind of comfortable, right? And I get the fear of stopping, slowing down, going to away from doing. And yet here in this group and in the past, anytime that I've actually experienced it, it's been very comfortable. So the experience is very different than the image for me, is my point.
Is there anybody who can't connect with this fear of the emptiness? Like, you don't even have to own it here, but just to notice it in yourself. So who else can touch a piece of that fear? Your version.
I've had a lot of fear, and the intensity of it's not as strong now. But mine isn't necessarily that there won't be nothing. It's more that I'm going to be engulfed and trapped. So it's not that nothing will exist. I think that's something I made peace with a long time ago. It's more that I'm going to be taken over. Yeah. And I've noticed that fear spills into everything and paralyzes any decision I make.
Yeah. Thank you, Jasmine, for speaking up. So Jasmine, you're actually bringing up something. You know, the thing about the emptiness is there is a fear of it taking us over, right? Like we're losing all our landmarks, all our identity.
It's like I'll lose my. It's more like I'll still be there, but I won't be able to make my own decision. It's kind of like being locked in a box.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
So speak up anytime, okay? Nobody.
I can speak up.
Mhm.
I I have fear of both things. I'm actually more in touch most of the time with the fear that Jasmine was talking about, the fear of being engulfed or absorbed. But I remember some time ago thinking that if I was the only person in this experience, that too would be terrifying. And so, yeah, and I can relate to how paralyzing both of those are.
So consider that the fear of the emptiness is in that cloud of the fear of being engulfed. It's just a different form of it, right? Like a core fear, right at the heart of, I mean, just where the spear point of terror comes into us, right? Either I'm nothing or I'm something, and something's going to overpower me, overtake me, right? It's just two sides of the same coin. So be patient with me as I keep saying that we don't want to look at this fear conceptually, right? It's an energy that is blocking us from a deeper experience of life. Yeah. So,
my fear, I wanted to,
Lorena, go ahead.
yeah, my biggest fear is to feel completely separate from the others. That's my biggest fear.
Right.
To be so into this emptiness that I will be separate.
Yeah. I can relate to that. I have some terror that way. And again, this is just another way of feeling that fear of emptiness, right? It's a different fears at the fundamental level in us all coming together, right? And because we're all different, we're going to feel it this way or the other way. So what the guide says is what most of us do is stay busy. Even if we're doing nothing, just scrolling through Facebook, right? Or binging on Netflix. Not that there's anything wrong with that or anything else. It's just a kind of desperate need to stay busy, right? And all of us, because we've all been conditioned since the Industrial Revolution. Our whole worth depends on staying busy, right? That's how we earn a living. People respect you when you're busy, when you accomplish things, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Yet what the guide is saying in this lecture is we're out of balance now. Human beings are out of balance. Okay. And just because it seems so hard for each one of us in our own way to be in that receptive state for more than a few moments at a time, doesn't mean that it's not our birthright, our destiny. That's actually what we came here to do. Right? Is to work through all the things in our life, our wounding, our history, our programming, our self-image, all these things that keep us from just the bliss and the pleasure of realizing and experiencing that inner self, the inner knowing, the real self, the God self that doesn't need anything. It's just happy. Even when there's serious challenges on the outer level, on the human level. So we all know we could take more time just to chill, right? Isn't that true? We all have some understanding of that, right? And we all have our unique story why we can't do that. And I could tell you my story, you could tell me yours, and we'd agree, yeah, it's really hard to do that. Lots of demands in life, right? So forth and so on. Yeah, you see, that's not really what it's about. It's not how busy my life is. It's this fundamental fear that's in the way. And rather than face the fear, I succumb to the disease of busyness, which really is, one of the curses of our age. So that's why, go ahead, Frank.
I can relate to that. Lately I've been taking a look at and this is because Darlene went through the personality types lecture a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I'm a reason type personality, and my default behavioral pattern is to keep order. When I feel like I can't keep order in my life, then I feel like, the walls are closing in.
Mm-hmm.
That fear that you're talking about, mine would be the fear of losing order, losing control,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess the void feels like a big ball of chaos. It feels like those worms crawling in my stomach, dude. I'm still trying to process that image that you laid on us during that meditation. I'm like, no, I don't want those worms crawling in my stomach.
Yeah. So, Frank, it's very helpful for me what you're saying, because you're naming your projection on the emptiness. There's a lack of order, chaos, right?
Yeah.
And it just makes your skin crawl, right? It's visceral for you.
Yeah. But I love to just sit and vegetate. I mean, I'm a king vegetator. I'm so good at that.
Often with a guitar, right?
Sit and doodle on the guitar.
Yeah.
Sit, some little project in the basement at the workbench, or just binge watching television.
Yeah.
Getting deep into a series and just being totally engrossed in it, and like thinking at the end of it all, like, wow, that was fun.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess struggling a little bit with like feeling guilty for wasting all that time binge watching a series, but that's just that's not, don't waste too much time with that guilt.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like this lecture was in its essence, about the unification principle, which is like higher, quote, higher half work. sort of. That's the impression that I got when I was reading it.
Mhm. Anyone else?
Hi,
Pat?
I was feeling like I kind of didn't have a right to speak up because I'm in a very different place. Right now. Frank, I could relate to you, although I'm more of a will type. Truth be known, but order is very important to me. And I clean when I get going. But the place I am, and this is a place that's perplexing to me, and it's right at my developmental edge, and one of my mentors is working with me on it, which is, it's existential stuff. And there's a lot of stuff tied in, which I won't get into the huge constellation I've made around all sorts of things with this. But the part that I'm like, I don't know, I've got a lot of baggage around love. And and something that she explained to me recently was because we're talking a lot of birth stuff, a lot of death stuff, a lot of womb stuff kind of things. And she was talking about the deep grief that we feel when we incarnate from divine love. And we come into this place of crazy distortions, human love, imperfect, that sort of thing. And I don't know how much I can say around this. I'm just kind of been told recently it's good to bookmark things like that in meetings.
So what we're wanting to do here, Catherine, together, and we're going to do some of it now, is just create a few moments of just letting everything go. Okay. And again, what's in the way are thoughts and feelings. Those are the carriers of our doubt, our unworthiness, our inadequacy, our fear, right? And if we can just let them all go for just a moment or two at a time, our entire experience can shift for a few moments, and we start wanting more of that, right? So let's try this. And again, just to take a moment, find a comfortable spot. This will be more brief this time. And again, go inside, let the eyes close so we can see more clearly. And just let one or two hands now come down over your belly, right around your navel. Again, the belly is where all the feelings live. And just feel whatever's there without getting caught up in it, right? Like, oh yeah, there's some hopelessness there. Okay. There's some doubt. Oh, there's some boredom. Oh, there's some confusion. And just take a moment and notice now. Let your hands even get a little farther away from the belly if they need to, just to energetically hold all those feelings in there. Just wanting to give them feeling of being held without any judgment, any shame, any guilt, any overwhelm. Now just bring those hands up to the heart, which is the center of the compassionate presence in a human being, right? Just feel the heart, just receiving all of them, just taking them in, saying, come here, I got you. I'll take that one, thank you. And this one also, right? Just see if you can have a moment of emptiness here with that. And now bring one hand up to the forehead, up to the thought center here, right? And again, under that hand, just feel whatever thoughts are churning around in there without getting caught up in them, without naming them. Just these little energy disturbances, right? And when you're ready, just slowly bring the hand down again over the heart, center of compassionate presence, and just feel the heart's ability to receive all the thoughts, all the feelings. And just leaving the hands on the heart for a moment and breathing into those hands. This is where it is, the real self, the guide within. Whatever it is we're struggling with, it just says, I see, I understand. I'm here with you. Let me have it. It says over and over, let me have it. And as it says on the bottle, lather, rinse, repeat, right? Really, this is the simplest and most direct way I found to empty ourselves, right? And first receiving the feelings and then moving the hands over the heart. It's like a conscious turning it over, like they say in 12-step work, right? And the same thing with the thoughts, without just getting caught up, feeling like we have to do anything with them. It's just, again, bringing it to the heart. And did you get a taste for a moment of emptiness in the positive sense that that creative emptiness, right? It's not elusive. It takes practice and it becomes a practice with an uppercase P, right? Spiritual practice. And you can see how little that involved, right? And whatever your doubt or skepticism is about this, it's welcome here. This is the place to bring it, right? Because this is the part of you that is actually coming for help. We still need to have sessions. We still need to journal, do the daily review, right? Read lectures, go to workshops, yet it's to bring us to this point, right? And again, remember that the guide is telling us is that we're mistaken in our identity, right? We're identified with our thoughts and with our feelings to the degree we're not able to connect with who we really are, who I really am, who you really are, right? Like, each one of us is just a soul in a human body. Like, we say that, like, yeah, and I also have two hands, right? Yet there's an experience that we're missing that has that bliss, the pleasure supreme, completeness, nothing missing. It's all here. I'm all alone and I feel love, right? I don't have much money. I may not even know how I'm going to pay my bills at the end of the month. Right now, I have everything I need. I'm really wanting some engagement here, just like to sort of pass this thing around a little bit. And remember, whatever your doubt is here, or skepticism, or yeah, take a risk and own it here. It's welcome. We're here to be real, not to be good, right?
Yeah. Okay. I don't resonate today with emptiness. I do resonate a lot with grief. It's heartbreaking to leave Oakland after 35 years and friends. And yet at the same time, I'm walking in our favorite neighborhood and I'm kind of seeing at the same time the neighborhood where I grew up in Shenandoah and the family that's there. And the gratitude that the whole family is there to support us through very serious medical issues. And that for the first time in 14 years, I can say, okay, John, someone else is taking care of you now. And I could see taking a day off. And there are times I just feel totally at ease. I've never felt more called than the work we're doing in the very creative dimension movement. Never been more called than that. I have my fear of the part of me that wants to say, okay, now I know what I want to do. Now I have a place in life. And okay, John, you help me do it right. And the truth is we are called to this, and I have a lower self too.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's all there. And someone says it's all good. Hell no, it ain't all good. You know?
Yeah.
And we've just finished packing up all the books that are going except 5 or 6. And that means we've gone through 5 purgings and giving away. And still we've sent 9 boxes of books, or we're sending them this week. And I'm just getting started on the other stuff. And
well, Pat, can you take a moment and just feel us like really wanting to bless you and John on all your efforts here across the country, right?
It's been too much.
Changing life. Just take a moment and just really let it in. Yeah, like we see what you're going through. It matters to us.
Yeah.
And we can send you and John something right now. Right.
You know, the funniest thought I just had, sometimes I need to be empty of gratitude. We have a gratitude practice every day and during the day. And I have never been so grateful.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't think I cling to the gratitude. I swim in it. But sometimes I go to the feeling of gratitude when there's other feelings too. I don't know if that makes sense. I've never.
Yeah. Well, Pat, there's a lot going on for you right now.
A lot.
Yeah. And
A lot. That is such a minuscule.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's come back to the subject at hand and just see where anybody is here. And I know it's late in the evening for some of us, and yet this is not easy stuff to look at, right?
When I was thinking or whatever, feeling into the abyss place, I could feel resistance and not wanting to go there. And then I felt a letting go. And not aware of exactly what I was feeling or thinking, but my body was not too very comfortable. I could feel the discomfort. So there's still something in my body messages that I'm not aware of. I just say thank you for the resistance. I'm safe, but I don't know that I feel safe.
What about this view of how hard it is for us to actually experience who we really are in this human body? How over-identified humans become with, my name, my history, what I can do, what I can't do, right? What I have, what I don't have, right? Actually, these become the self-limiting beliefs now that create our experience, right? So when I offer that the human part of you is not even the most important part, actually. The richest, the most valuable, the most full of love and pleasure, right? Does that seem vague or abstract, right? Like, is there a way you can feel that's real in you? There's something in me much more than I'm willing to look at and admit, right? Because now that means I have responsibilities. If I'm going to be really conscious and connected with my God self, I'm going to have to change things, right? This is one of the things the guide mentions in this lecture, right? We don't want to be in the emptiness, not just because we're afraid of it. That's true. We're also afraid we're going to have to give up what we've become attached to. Right? What's familiar, our routines, the way we protect ourselves. Right? Our guilty pleasures, whatever they are, all that stuff. Right? So the part I'm really hoping to plant the seed in tonight is, again, this creative emptiness is not the end, it's just the means to actually have a near life experience. People talk about that near-death experience where you're seeing the lights in the tunnel, right? And like, whoa, that's really something, right? Yet that's all right here, right now. If you're feeling any doubt, I just invite you to be kind to that part of yourself, right? If you're feeling bored, I invite you to be curious about that part. Like, you know, really, at the heart of the path work that God is saying is anything you could ever dream of and desire and want and need, it's right here, right now. Right? Yet, as a thought, that doesn't do us any good, right? It's like a picture of a Swiss Army knife instead of having the Swiss Army knife, right? The picture doesn't do any good, right? So another thing the guide is saying is just pointing out how little we settle for in life, right? Like that busyness, the routine, you know. So what I'm wanting to do here is really raise your expectations about what's possible, what you can have. It's not on the outer level. It's not anything to go find, right? It's that ability we have as human beings just to step into that reality of who we are. Feel it settling over ourselves. Feel everything that moments ago seemed so big just fading further and further away, getting smaller and smaller. Noticing that time has stopped. And then, oh yeah, all that stuff is still here, yet I have a deeper sense of who I am and what I'm really here for, right? Whatever has made you the happiest in your whole life, whatever it is that has just felt like the most wonderful time, most wonderful moment, right? was real for sure. Yet at this level, that the guide's teaching, the guide is telling us it's not about what happened. That was already in you, right? And that event just allowed it to come forth. Right? So that's what we're wanting to learn a step at a time, a few moments at a time, just to create that creative emptiness, because that same joy, magical feeling, just like, wow, right? That's right in here. It's not about finding someone or something or winning the lottery or, yet we can't, again, get ourselves there just by thinking about it. We have to do something to become empty so we can become filled. Yet that thing seems so small, yet so simple. Yet can you see how challenging it is? That's the irony here. That's the paradox. That's when you know you're really getting down to the level of ultimate reality. When you can see something as so simple and you just can't bring yourself to do it. And again, it's not like there's anything wrong with you. That's just precisely this human dilemma, right, that we all have. Now, I have some of this now in my life, and part of it was just came out of sheer crisis, right? My whole life blew up, including having a terminal cancer. And I just have moments of it that are just so profoundly as sweet as I'm trying to share with you here. Yet, I also notice there's just a lot of Brian on autopilot, So, here's my humanity and here's my divinity. And really what we're wanting to do is bring them together. And not as, again, as an abstract, but as an experience. Is there any other part of this lecture that you thought we were going to talk about that we haven't?
I thought it was interesting the way the guide spoke about the evolution of essentially the human psyche or the human mind or the human personality, the whole package, that we had to evolve to get to a place where we could accept or experience this new age, so to speak, that he talked about. We didn't come into creation ready for it, it seems. That's the message I got.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and we're never closer to it than we are right now. Mm-hmm. You say, Anybody want any techniques? The guide talks about something I find really important, this hold lightly and tightly at the same time, right? Got to really want it, set the intention to get it, do what it takes to make it happen, and then let it all go without any fixed idea of what's going to come in, right?
Yeah, techniques are really good. Please teach us.
Yeah, that if we have a fixed expectation, what's going to come in, we're going to be disappointed. Because we're only looking for one thing now. And, you know, what can come in is so much bigger than anything we can dream of, really, actually. We really, the lecture here is inviting us to begin to cultivate a mystical state. It's part of our life. A direct experience of this God consciousness that we are in the world as, each one of us. Right? So, you know, again, whatever your doubts are around this, your skepticism, your disbelief, all of this is honorable. Right? It's not that you're not spiritually aware enough or conscious enough, that this is exactly what's in the way for every human being.
This is Josie. I listened to the live recording of Eva, where the guide was coming through, and you know, it's edited out in the written lectures, but in this one in particular, I think this is important stuff because the guide was like struggling a few times in looking for the words. I think when he's trying to get something across that he really wants us to know, and it was hard for him to get it across into human words, just like Brian was saying. Like he said, she struggles, and Eva says it a few times, and you could just, I don't know if you know what I mean, like you could feel the struggle in trying to get this across to us, particularly in this lecture. I heard it quite a few times. That was important to me because I realized how much the guy cares about us and how much he wanted us to get it, but yet the human words weren't there. So I always catch that as being an important piece when I feel that happening when I'm listening to the live lectures. I just wanted to share that was something, you know, that meant something to me.
Thank you, Josie. Thank you. Yeah, the energy of it. Right. So some of you have heard my own thoughts around how the guide came to be. Right. And my own thoughts are that humanity had gone on for many tens of thousands of years, and the results were really not very good. And whatever the larger forces are around us, they said they need more help. They have no clue really about who they really are. They're just trying to operate you know, on the human level. And so the guide came and said to humans, wow, let me help you. Right? And many of us have this experience where this or that message from the guide, just a line or two or a paragraph, feels like, wow, I've been waiting my whole life to hear that. Right? So that's part of what we're talking about tonight, is just wanting to really get some of that glory. the glory of the experience of being a human being. Right?
But you know, Brian, this experience of creative emptiness obviously is very elusive, because otherwise we'd all be talking about experiences that we had of experiencing it, and no one is.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell you about a time in my life when I've experienced something that I think is akin to what the guide is alluding to here. I can't tell you. Just, you know.
Up till now.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Creative emptiness, it's
okay.
Maybe a spontaneous moment of trust. That's about the best that I could say.
Okay. And would you like more of that?
Hell yeah.
How much more would you like?
All I can get.
Yeah. Now you're talking. You see, what Frank is modeling here is that appetite and that capacity for it that we're afraid to let ourselves feel. Like, if I let myself really want that, what if I can't have it, right? So that famous phrase from the guide in another lecture, not wanting to want, right? I won't want it because then I won't be disappointed, right? This is what we're up against here, is our resistance, right? The very thing we want the most. Our resistance is saying, whoa, 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 no, right?
Brian, I feel that my issue is with the integration. I mean, I used to meditate. I had to stop because I just get lost in meditation for 3.5 hours minimum every morning. I loved it, and spirit was working on me the whole time. And it was like, I gotta do all this stuff, you know. Human relationships, I'm pretty doggone awkward in.
Yeah.
So I think, again, I've been having a hard time kind of navigating this lecture because I feel like I'm coming kind of from the opposite direction. So I haven't spoken up like Frank said, because I felt like I'm not with the wave, but I am.
Right.
Just kind of backwards.
Yeah. So I want to say, without any characterization of you, Catherine, that meditation itself is not necessarily creative emptiness. Meditation often becomes a form, you know. I know that. I've trained in it, I've taught it, and I've struggled with it. Right? Like, it's something I'm doing, I'm meditating. Right? So here we're just considering just a few minutes. Eternity can be in just a few minutes. So we're getting ready to come in for a landing here, and this is not easy stuff to try to put into words, and it's not easy stuff for any of us to actually approach. Our resistance, our doubt, our fear. Yet, I'm going to ask you just to notice until we meet again in 2 weeks how hard it is just to take 3 minutes and come to a stop, right? For 3 minutes. Notice I didn't say I want you to do this. Sure, it'd be great if it happens, yet we want to be honest about what's in the way, right? So rather than set ourselves up for the next 2 weeks of, oh, I have a homework assignment, I should do it. I haven't done it for 3 days, oh crap, you know. Right? What we're inviting here is just to kind of hang out with this curious phenomena. Like, we could take 3 minutes and really touch the face of eternity, actually, you know. Feel pleasure, love, just transcendence. Yet notice all the objections that come up from the committee, right, in our head. So that's my invitation, and I'm really glad you came tonight. Thank you. And I invite us just to take a moment and really look at the faces on the screen and just have an experience of sending support, whether you know the person or not. I just think, I want it for me, I want it for you. I'll help you, please help me. I won't judge you because I'm judging myself already. Yes. 30 seconds of creative emptiness here, just really the mystery of how we all got here tonight. All right, everybody, come back. The best is yet to come.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
thank
Brian.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Mm.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.